yung basic needs ng both parties to have a healthy relationship.
Less communicative ang mga lalaki, that's why it's kailangan talagang ma-practice ng lalaki yung pag-communicate ng feelings.
Nawawalan po ng emotional connection and nagpaparamdam na lang po sila when it's convenient for them.
Hi everyone, this is Nix, your host for Next Speed podcast, and welcome to Next Speed Season 2. And for this season, we will have different voices from different generation. I would love to introduce each and every one of them. We will start to Miss Eileen.
Hi, I'm Eileen, representing Gen X.
Hello po, I'm Apor from Millennials.
Hi po, I'm Flora and I'm representing Gen Z.
Alright, so for this season, we will have a lot of conversation about being women, about the struggles, and about relationship para mas exciting sa kanila, and also career and success, di ba? But we would like to discuss more on hot topics right now, and we are seeing a lot of this in social media, sharing their experience in the relationship. And right now, our topic is, why do good women stays in toxic relationship? So we will have different generation that will speak based on their perspective, experience, and their learning about relationship or their experiences. So let's start to Miss Eileen. And sa generation po ninyo, normal yung mindset na ipaglaban ang relasyon. And lalo na kapag may mga batang involved. So sa tingin niyo po ba, nakatulong ba yun para mas tumibay yung relasyon ninyo sa asawa or sa karelasyon ninyo, o minsan ito yung dahilan kung bakit nananatili yung babae sa toxic na relationship?
So unang-una, from a Gen X perspective, we have to define what is toxic. Kasi parang hindi known or hindi uso yung word na toxic during our generation. The way that I'm looking at it from that perspective, kung magsistay ba, is we are, yung mga women in our generation, usually, they stay there because commitment is very sacred. The church, the family, puts a lot of pressure in terms of kailangan mag-work. The woman in the family relationship is the one having the big responsibility in terms of ensuring that the family is maintained. It's very, very sacred. So, from all aspects of life, naririnig namin yun na kailangan buo yung pamilya. Pero, it only works if both parties in the relationship work together to make it happen. If one of the parties, kunyari isang tao lang sa isang relationship, ang nag-work towards making it happen, syempre magkakaroon ng imbalance. Diba? Ang sinasabi nga nila, it's okay to fight for your relationship, but it's not necessarily okay if you're fighting inside the relationship. So, yun.
Do you have any question based on the perspective on what generation you are?
Siguro po to add dun sa sinabi ni Miss Eileen na reality po yun, not just in their generation, but sa generation din po namin as millennials. Even though some of us are still not married or some of us are married, yun nga po, struggle din na lumaban ka inside the relationship kasi hindi mo kalaban yung external factors like time, pressure, expectations. Yung kalaban mo kasi doon or yung parang hindrance sa pag-prosper ng relationship ay yung behavior, yung toxicity na nandun sa loob. And minsan, parang mas dragging siya. Hindi lang dun sa tao na may toxic behavior, pero dun din sa tao na nag-face ng toxicity ng partner niya.
And similarly rin po to what she said, na-amaze po ako sa focus ng generation niyo on commitment, especially in marriage, yun nga po, the sanctity, the church. Kasi napapansin ko po here sa Gen Z, we focus on more, how do you say it, modern, I guess, na problems when it comes to identifying toxicity in a relationship, which siguro mapupoint out ko rin po mamaya. So I'm excited to share more about that later.
Yan. So, totoo yun na when it comes to, kasi as a millennial, lumaki tayo dun sa buhay na kailangan magstay yung family kasi unang-una kapag kasal, We always remember na nag-promise tayo sa harap ni Lord. That's what we always say, 'di ba? Kaya parang hindi kapag naghiwalay kami or kapag iniwan ko siya, ibig sabihin brinay ko yung promise ko kay Lord na magsasama kami habang nabubuhay kami. So yun nga, sobrang sacred kasi ng marriage and ng relationship during that time. So sa panahon po ninyo noon na wala pang social media at mental health conversations, paano po ninyo nalalaman na ang isang babae nasa toxic relationship na pala siya?
As I've said earlier, during that time, generation ko, I didn't grow up or nung lumalaki ako, wala kami word na toxic. Pag sinabi mong toxic, poisonous. Usually yung ini-ingest natin, di ba? So, pero as time goes by, when you grow up, when you have a relationship, when you have kids, one of the questions that you would always think about is, bakit parang palagi na lang akong mali? Bakit parang ako na lang palaging may kasalanan? Bakit parating ako na lang ang gumagawa ng paraan? And I think that translates to the current term that you call toxic because nagsishrink ka. You're shrinking in the effort to make somebody better or to make the situation better. So I think that's toxicity in the Gen X perspective.
Yes. And to add up lang po doon, kasi for example, nasa toxic relationship ka, and usually yung mga parents natin na nasa ganyang situation before, they cannot exit to that situation kasi they rely on their partner. So, I'm actually have this thinking na that's why nagkaroon ng formulation ng ang tawag dito ng independent woman. Kasi the reason why hindi tayo makaalis dun sa toxic relationship before is because wala tayong fund para mabuhay tayo. Kasi di ba, cultural-wise, parang nabigay sa atin yung thinking na asawa ka, magsaserve ka sa family mo, aalagaan mo yung family mo. Ngayon, kapag nagloko yung asawa mo, binubugbog ka na, wala ka nang magawa, ang tawag dito, hindi ka makaalis kasi paano mo bubuhayin yung mga anak mo? As a woman, as nanay, di ba, parang hindi, kasi hindi ko kayang iwan yung anak ko kasi kailangan ma-nurture ko sila as babae kasi yun yung nature natin. So, yun. So, parang yung independent woman is parang dun siya nagsimulang ma-develop. Dun sa time na yung mga babae is hindi sila maka-exit sa relationship kasi wala silang, parang hindi sila na-train para mag-hunt ng para sa sarili nila.
During the Gen X, it's patriarchal pala eh. Very, ang mga lalaki talaga ang breadwinner.
Provider.
Diba? Ang provider. So, ang nanay, to ensure that the house is in order and to ensure to take care of the children. So, to your point nga, kung magbubugbugin man ako, iisipin mo muna, paano yung mga anak ko? Bago sarili mo, huli yung, okay lang kahit masaktan na ako, pero yung anak ko sisiguraduhin ko na nakakakain, may tamang maayos na edukasyon. Everything else is to the others except for themselves.
And I think that's what makes even a housewife an independent woman po. Kasi in a way, kahit hindi ka nag-work, ikaw pa rin bumubuhay sa isang set of people.
Correct.
And that's very brave for me. And di pa ako nanay, pero na-admire ko yun.
Right. And let's go to millennials. So, na-witness natin mga millennials yung both traditional and modern relationship. Kasi nasa sandwich era tayo diba? So sa tingin mo ba, bakit marami pa ring babae nag-i-stay kahit mas aware sila sa mga red flags?
First of all, dahil, in the sa mga millennials rather, karamihan ay, yun nga, they chose to stay in that relationship because they feel like naniniwala pa rin sila doon sa change. Na meron kasing mindset yung mga babae na normally nasa nature ng mga babae yung mag-ayos. Like, 'di ba kasi commonly ang mga nanay or mga babae, tayo yung nag-aayos ng bahay, tayo nagde-decorate. So, nata-translate 'yon in relationships in a sense na kapag yung partner natin ay meron siyang bad behavior, meron tayong tendency, meron tayong belief na someday magbabago din yun. I just need to be patient, I just need to be more kind, more understanding. And dahil doon, they stay kasi they still have that hope na one day magbabago lahat, magbabago yung situation nila, pwedeng magbago yung treatment sa kanila nung partner ng asawa nila. And that's the sad reality kasi yung hope na yun makes them stuck in that relationship. And another thing is, yung pressures din kasi ng society. Siyempre po, yung generation kasi natin, tayo yung sabi mo nga, sandwich tayo. So, eto na yung time na parang, ang expectations natin ng society, we should have kids, we should have this or that, marriage, whatever. May pressure kasi na kapag, let's say, they decided to end the relationship. Tapos, parang start ulit sa umpisa. I read a lot of sentiments from women my age, women our age, na nahirapan sila na magsimula ulit, and nahirapan sila na parang saan ka kukuha ulit, saan mo kukunin ulit yung sarili mo, saan ka maghahanap ng partner ulit, o makakahanap ka pa ba? Kasi parang merong parang unwritten expectation or more of a norm na dapat pag 30 ka na you have everything together sa buhay mo. Tapos parang nakakahiyang aminin bilang babae, as a millennial woman na you came from a failed relationship or a toxic relationship, and parang ang tingin kasi sa'yo matanda na, parang ang tingin sa atin,
Tita na nga tayo.
Tita na nga tayo diba? Tita na yung tawag sa atin doon. Pero I don't think by age kasi sa pagsisimula ulit, or wala namang certain age na ito lang yung age dapat na maghanap ka ng job mo, parang wala namang ganon. So yun, common dito kasi sa atin, I mean culturally speaking as well, ang laki ng expectation sa mga babae, na ang babae ang nagkikerry ng emotional labor, lalo na sa relationship, na let's say nag-fail ang relationship, laging ang sisi sa babae. So kasi hindi ka understanding, hindi mo inintindi, hindi mo pinagbigyan, whatsoever, blah blah blah. So yun yung pain na nadala ng mga millennials. That's why when let's say a millennial got out of a relationship, may fear. Kaya nagsistay na lang sila doon. They chose to endure hanggang siguro maubos sila, or someday on the other side of the spectrum magbago lahat.
So, akala natin, mababago natin yung lalaki. Hindi, actually, kasi di ba nga nature ng babae ang mag-nurture?
Yes.
So, akala natin, kaya natin silang baguhin. Di ba?
Pero we forget to think about the fact that kaya rin dapat sa sarili natin, yun yung nurture natin.
Yes.
Diba? Hindi lang lahat sa palabas, pero dapat internally, we should think of how do I make myself be the better or the one receiving the care this time around.
Yes.
Yeah. O kasi 'di ba usually ibang lalaki sasabihin nila porque nagkaanak na. Tapos syempre focus ka sa family, nag-aalaga ka. Hindi na ikaw yung babaeng nakilala ko nung dalaga. Hindi na ikaw yung ganyan kaganda, yung postura. So 'di ba parang what? I'm taking care of the whole family. Ikaw nagtatrabaho ka, nagbibigay ka ng fund, but I'm taking care of everything. Tapos nakakalimutan mo yung kung ano yung tsura ko ngayon, nakakalimutan mo. Kaya sila naghahanap ng mas bata,
Mas fresh.
Mas fresh. Diba? Kung hindi nyo binibigyan ng stress yung asawa nyo, hinahayaan nyo na alagaan niya rin yung sarili niya, siguro naman, hindi niya papabayaan. Sino bang babaeng gusto malosyang?
Right.
Yes.
Diba?
Tsaka kasi ang finances is just one aspect of family life. Merong emotional, may physical, merong social. So, yun yung ibang factor kasi na yun, yung mga nasabi ko, hindi kasi yun madalas nabibigay ng lalaki. Parang they always think money, basta pag may pera masaya, pero hindi lang naman laging pera ang nagpapasaya, or hindi lang naman yun ang source of happiness in the relationship. Dapat may time ka pa rin sa asawa mo or sa partner mo. You still need to check kung nafe-feel ba ng partner mo na loved siya, na seen siya, importante siya. Yun yung nakakalimutan.
Appreciated.
Yes.
Dapat para
Oo.
naman. Okay. So, sa generation pa rin ba natin, gaano kalaki yung epekto na yung babae is financially independent pagdating sa pagde-decide niya na umalis or magstay sa isang relationship?
Napaka-importante kasi yun nga, sabi nga ni Miss A kanina, minsan factor ang pera bakit hindi umaalis sa relationship, and I also heard a lot of stories like that. So, yung pera, napaka-importante siya kasi parang kailangan mo siya, yun yung source of strength mo to start over in the relationship. So, napakahalaga na meron kang sariling pera, not just pera, kasi para sa akin, ang career is an identity. Part of your identity kasi siya. So, nakakatawa na karamihan sa mga kababaihan or mga millennial women are very career-driven. Like, they have their own money, they excel at their own career, the industries they are in. Kasi, kapag let's say the man in the relationship or kung sino man ang partner nila, they tried to shrink her down, hindi siya mag-shrink, hindi siya magbabago. Kasi meron siyang source ng kung sino siya, ano yung identity niya, which is being career woman. And yun nga, ang madalas na fear ngayon ng mga lalaki, no, yung they really parang they get intimidated with strong independent women. Kasi sabi nga nila, hindi mo daw maloloko, hindi mo mapapaikot yung ulo. So, napaka-importante na hindi lang siya financially independent, but also meron kang identity outside the relationship and you build your own empire or you build your own career. Kasi pagka, alam mo yon, you depend your life, hindi na dependent pala sa ibang tao yung mga nasa generation natin kasi alam natin yung worth natin and pinaghirapan natin to, so we should own it and don't let other people destroy it.
Yeah, good point. And ang isang struggle lang pagdating sa pagbubuo ng pamilya kapag ang babae is a strong independent woman, may sariling career, paano na niya ibabalance yung pagiging family woman niya, or yung pagiging nanay niya, asawa niya, plus meron siyang career. So most of the time, ang nangyayari is nagpo-pause yung babae sa career nila. And doon na nagsisimula lahat ng nakakalimutan na may career pala ako. Tapos hanggang sa masanay na lang yung lalaki na unless na ganun ka-healthy yung relationship na pagpapatakbo sa kanila, yung takbo ng relationship nila na nababalance pa rin yung respect ng lalaki dun sa career na binuo ng babae is nandun pa rin. Kasi, di ba, parang kapag yung asawa nagkaanak na, tapos naiwan na sa bahay, kasi mas pinili ng lalaki na mag-focus yung babae sa pamilya, and yung babae, mas minahal niya yung pagiging nanay at asawa niya, na kakalimutan na ito yung career niya nung nakilala ko siya. 'Di ba? Hanggang sa yung babae, mahal niya na yung pagiging mama niya, pagiging asawa niya. Nakalimutan niya na, pwede pala akong bumalik dun sa ganitong career ko. So, sana wag makakalimutan yun ng mga babae na nag-establish ng career nila para hindi sila maliitin din nung partner nila within that relationship na at a certain moment, kailangan nilang mag-pause para mahalin or alagaan yung family nila. So, yun. Sobrang hirap nung sa era natin. Kasi sabi mo nga na, itong age kasi natin, nasa 30s na, they expect us to have child, na dapat meron na tayong ganito, na nagfo-focus tayo sa family. Wherein, parang, di ba, I don't know, pero nung bata kasi ako, ang thinking ko, at the age of 25, eto na ako.
Same.
Diba? Yun yung expectation natin. At the age of 25, may asawa ka na, may anak ka na, may bahay ka na, established ka na. Kaya nung time na nasa starting of 20s, parang nagkakaraming tayo na makuha natin yung goal na yun. Which is sobrang hirap kasi until now ako, 30, 33 na ako, pero parang hindi ko pa mahanap kung ano yun talagang gusto kong gawin sa buhay. I don't know, kuha ko lang siya, kaya ang daming experimental na ginagawa ko, but still, hindi siya ganun kadali. That's why parang at the age of 30, dun ngayon nagsisimula yun na yung ideal actually ng generation natin na mag-start ng family. Kasi feeling natin na yung 20s is yun yung time na nag-explore tayo. So, yun lang naman. As a millennial. So pagdating naman sa Gen Z, yung generation ninyo, sobrang woke. I mean,
Yes.
di ba? Sobrang aware sila sa lahat. Actually, sabi nga ito recently lang na, totoo yung sinabi ni Rizal na ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. Kasi we are seeing, kasi yung millennial, parang tayo yung magulong generation di ba? Tayo yung nagpapaiyak ng teacher, nagpapalabas ng teacher, tapos hindi napapasukin kasi masakit daw sa ulo ang millennials. Pagdating sa school, yun ang laging sabi. So, when it comes to your generation, na sobrang woke na sa lahat, sobrang open na sa lahat ng knowledge, so, mas mabilis ba ninyong malabel yung relationship na toxic or mas aware talaga kayo sa mga unhealthy behaviors ng partners ninyo?
Okay po. So, before I start lang po, gusto ko lang po sabihin, wow, grabe yung distinction. Kasi while I was listening sa inyo po lahat, na-realize ko po yung difference ng priorities talaga ng mga older age groups sa Gen Z. Kasi ibang-iba po talaga kayo, mga career-oriented and all. And sa Gen Z, still figuring out themselves. So, ayun na nga, to answer your question po, I think it's a mix of both. Mabilis kami mang-label and ano po yung second part? Sorry.
Kung mas mabilis ba ninyo or mas aware kayo
Yes.
kapag yung unhealthy na yung
And ayun nga po, that's exactly why mabilis kaming man-label. Kasi parang sabi ni Miss Eileen kanina, wala silang word na toxic in the context of relationships. Eh kami, may full vocabulary na kami. Nandun na. So like, pag may nakita kaming something's off, for example, yung vocabulary namin, there's breadcrumbing. Aware po ba kayo sa breadcrumbing?
Yes.
Hindi na.
So basically, yun po is yung after a while, hindi na po nagpaparamdam ang isang person. So parang nasi-string along na lang po yung other party. Nawawalan po ng emotional connection and nagpaparamdam na lang po sila when it's convenient for them. Yun, those are one of the terms po. Breadcrumbing, gaslighting, love bombing, all those terms. My whole umbrella na po under the Gen Z vocab. And siguro, pag nakita namin yun, linalabel na rin namin. And that's probably why madali kaming mang-label ng isang relationship as toxic. And ayun, since Gen Z nga po is also focused on mental health and like true self-awareness, parang gusto rin namin i-prioritize sarili namin, which is why we're very wary when it comes to finding relationships. Kaya ayun, nalilabel namin sila agad.
Yeah,
I
yung tatlong item na sinabi niyo kanina, sa millennial, ghosting yun.
Yes.
Ghosting.
Ghosting yun.
Yeah,
Pero wala nang, yung ghosting kasi later
As in,
part na lang siya eh.
oo.
Diba parang ang term natin dati iniwan sa ere.
Yes.
Ah,
Ito bumabalik pa pag convenient eh. Diba?
breadcrumbing.
Yeah, at saka, yun nga, meron silang, they call it situationship ngayon.
Yes.
Situationships.
Sa atin, ano yun? MU.
MU.
Oh,
Sa amin,
pa yung
ano pa po ang MU sa situationship eh. Yeah.
Sige, do
May
define.
For MU is parang may gusto lang kayo sa isa't isa.
Okay.
For situationship, it's basically para kayong mag-jowa, pero wala kayong label na jowa.
No strings attached.
No strings attached. No strings attached. Yeah.
So, wala rin kayong rights. Yun yung no
Yeah.
strings attached sa atin. Na
yeah.
you do boyfriend-girlfriend thing, but wala kayong karapatan na magpigil, magselos sa isa't isa kapag merong ibang parties na nai-involve.
Exactly.
So, sa tingin mo ba, dahil sa social media and relationship goals, mas mahihirapan ng mga babae na tanggapin na toxic ang relationship nila?
Actually, opo. Kasi ever since nag-trending yung mga social media love advice, yung mga gurus, parang ang dami pong, I guess, na mind wash na like all those rules nagfi-fit into for all. Pero hindi naman kasi we have different standards as a person. And ayokong nakikita yung mga babaeng kagaya ko na like pag may nakita silang trend na ganito sa social media, kailangan ganun na rin yung relationship nila. And in the end, dahil sa mga trend na to, nagiging toxic na rin sila eh. Like, for example, may mga online trends na fina-flex ng mga other girls on social media na kami ng partner ko, nag-share kami ng social media accounts for security. And napapaisip ako, that's so ironic because that just shows how insecure you are. Because in the first place, a relationship is always built on trust. So bakit pa kailangan yung mag-share ng accounts and mag-open ng accounts? So ayun lang, like that's only one example. Marami ring other toxic social media rules on love out there, which I think hindi naman talaga hindi fit for a relationship, a healthy relationship, and it's only just for show.
And ewan ko, pero parang nagtitrend recently na yung mga college students, they cohabit na
Yeah.
sa jowa nila. So, I'm
Parang
thinking,
live-in natin.
yes, live-in natin.
Live-in po talaga.
Ang iniisip ko po doon, since I have Gen X here, siyempre, ang parent nun is either early millennial or Gen X. So, bakit ina-allow ng parents yung gano'n? Samantalang nung mga time natin, may boyfriend ka ng college, tigil ka mag-aral. Di ba?
Yes.
Ganyan
May
ang rule
curfew ka.
before. Pero ngayon, ang dami nagko-cohabit na parang student, I don't know if they parang pinagkatiwala na nila yung anak nila dun sa para may magbantay or ano pong ninyo doon? Ano pong take ninyo dun sa gano'n?
Actually, I'm surprised. Buti na lang ang anak ko 9 years old pa lang. So, I have a long way to go. But the way that I'm thinking of that now is, if I'm going to be in that position, how much trust do I have on both parties
Yes.
to allow that to happen? Kasi it's I'm pretty sure there are rules, there are boundaries, pero on how much they uphold to the rules and the boundaries, that's a different story. I think ang parenting is sumusunod sa times. If that's not allowed, what could have happened with the relationship of the parent and the child? So I'm not in a liberty to provide opinion, pero ang naisip ko talaga, there's a lot of trust that's happening in that particular relationship.
That's why
Exactly po, there's a lot of trust. Kasi unang-una in the first place, alam po ba ng parents na nagko-co-living sila? Kasi may mga cases po na ganun in Gen Z. May mga nagli-live-in na po without the knowledge of their parents. And in other cases, healthy naman siya na alam ng parents. Or independent, may source of income naman yung mag-partner. So, they can freely live together. So, ayun. It's all about trust if alam ng parents.
And siguro, I mean, since they're in college, we know na mahal ang mag-aral even though you are in public school. Sinasabi nila free tuition. Ano pa rin magastos pa rin yung living expenses even though, lalo na kapag taga ibang lugar yung isang tao, tapos they will be relocating for college or studies. Ano yun, magastos talaga siya. I mean, I saw that trend and ang sinasabi ng mga bata, they're doing it for practicality purposes. Kasi mahal nga naman ng renta, mahal nga naman ng buhay. So, parang basically for sharing of expenses daw talaga. But what, siguro, I mean, my opinion on that as a millennial is, parang, even though, yeah, we see the trust, valid yung trust ng magulang. And yan, sabi nga ni Flora na possibly hindi alam ng mga magulang ito kasi they are afraid. Tama nga naman yun. Kasi syempre, posible pag nalaman yun ng magulang, baka pa-stop sila. May mga ganun po eh. Pero, siguro yung concern ko doon sa mga bata is, yung college life kasi is meant to be explored, meant to be enjoyed. Doon mo kasi i-build yung identity mo to be a professional after you graduate. So, kailangan mo talaga kailangan mo ng strong sense of independence. And given na, I mean, sabihin natin ng 18 to 20 years old sila, yung emotions kasi nila, yung maturity nila is still not there. Kumbaga, hindi pa fully developed yung kanilang logical thinking, more on parang irrational pa sila mag-isip. So, yun nga, makakagawa talaga sila ng hasty decisions, may mga irrational na mga perspective pa sila na feeling nila rational. Kasi syempre, they will also ask with their friends sa mga kaedad din nila. Number 3 is, another thing is yung pagkakaroon ng practice na, I mean, yung mga practices o yung mga ways of living na dapat ginagawa lang natin kapag, let's say, mature enough na tayo, may pera na tayo. Pero yun nga, ginawa nila ng mas early. Parang, yun, yung sana, sayang yung time para i-build yung yung identity nila, yung sarili nila. Ihanapin nila kung ano ba talaga yung gusto nilang gawin sa buhay. Kasi may orgs, may activities na doon mo dapat makita kung anong gusto mo sa buhay mo after you graduate. So, yun, parang for me, nasa center kasi siya around relationships. So, yun yung medyo delikado kasi parang nagkakaroon ng codependency, di ba? May ganun kayong terms.
Codependency.
May codependency na sa relationship. And dangerous siya kapag hindi kasi guided.
Oo, totoo.
And I can attest to that po. Ang dami kong narinig na story from my friends na yung mga friends nila na, especially girls, they revolve their whole life around the relationship. And in the end, hindi na sila nakapag-grow as a person, in their career, in school.
Kasi too early para sabihin ng boyfriend mo na umuwi ka na maaga. Diba?
Yes.
Yun nga lang mag-message kayo, magjowa kayo na hindi pa kayo magkasama sa bahay, tapos sasabihin, o bakit wala ka pa sa bahay nyo? Nasaan ka na naman? Diba? May mga ganun eh. So, I don't know, do you find that as a toxic?
Yes, I find that toxic.
Ikaw?
Oo naman.
Kayo po?
Yeah, same. Kasi it limits you to be you. If there are boundaries set na natatapakan na yung full expression of yourself as a human being, it's toxic.
Yeah, it's parang controlling na rin kasi, 'di ba? So yun, good thing yun, biglang pumasok yun yung cohabitant na, kasi nakita ko lang din siya na parang naging norm na siya ngayon. Totoo na mas makakatipid, totoo din naman yun. So, paano ba ang, di ba, napunta tayo sa Gen Z na kasi tayo medyo, tayo nasa sandwich tayo, tapos sila syempre hindi pa ganun ka-fully aware dun sa ganung nangyayari. So, tingin mo, paano yung, ang tawag dito, paano yung thought process nung paglilimit as boyfriend-girlfriend na magkasama kayo sa isang bahay? Kasi di ba, we have this saying na don't give the wife
Privilege.
privilege while hindi married. So, paano paano yung thought process ng Gen Z when it comes to that,
So basically, yung pagka-controlling po or yung possessive behavior, I think that still stems from social media standards. Kasi ayun nga po, on social media, for example, maraming like couples na nag-reflex like, this is my boyfriend, he's mine. This is my girlfriend, she's mine only. And so many other references. I think nagagets din ni ate dito. And ayun nga, sa thought process ng Gen Zs, kung jowa ko to, dapat sa akin lang siya. Dapat hindi siya makipag-interact sa other people. Because nga, she's my girlfriend, I guess. Like, okay, we understand na you're in a relationship with a person, pero that does not give you the right to have full control over their privacy and what they do on a daily basis. Kasi in the end, hindi naman kayo mag-asawa. You have separate lives, and especially as Gen Z, nagbe-build pa kayo ng career nyo, ng buhay nyo. And nakakasad lang na yung other person in the relationship, yung nakaka-experience ng pressure na to, they go along with it. Kasi ayun nga, they made that relationship their whole life. And iniisip din nila na, iniisip nila na toxic to, pero if mag-exit sila, saan sila tutungo? There's nothing else set up for themselves. Or on the other hand, they go along with it because they agree with it. Na dapat doon lang sila, that they should be caged in that corner only. So, ayun.
Parang too early para ma-experience
yung
nila.
script na yun, parang yun yung script namin, pero at a later age.
At a later age.
Right?
So,
Parang
too early.
ang ano lang is, it's very, very interesting that the way that one party can look at the relationship, parang siyang item, parang siyang object. Kasi
exactly.
possession di ba?
Opo.
Full control. Versus thinking of it na dapat pareho kayo nag-grow.
Dapat
And you nurture
balance.
each other.
Yeah.
At early age.
Yeah.
Diba?
Diba?
Pero kayo po, nung time ninyo, ganun na po ba ang mindset ng boyfriend-girlfriend relationship or hindi?
Hindi rin. It just so happened that my partner then, who became my husband, very healthy yung relationship. We communicate fully, open communication. Up until now, all the things that we do, kahit hindi kami mag-agree, we have to find a middle ground. And I think that's because lumaki kami I grew up in a corporate world na palaging open communication. You're taught to communicate properly. And if you don't do that, on your personal relationship, sayang naman. So, there's a lot of dialogue na maraming tao rin ang umiiwas. Hindi lahat ng tao ready to be firm with their words, regardless kung maging pasigaw pa yan or malumanay. Eventually kasi you will find your rhythm. Maiintindihan ka kung uminit ulo mo, kasi ganyan. The same way. So it's really a lot of communication and understanding each other. Na at a very young age, hindi ganun nga ka-mature or hindi ka open mind na, sige, hindi yan toxic behavior pa. Parang kaya pang yun. So, you have to do a lot of dialogue.
To add, yun nga po, communication and dialogue. Napansin ko rin sa mga ang dami kong pinagkukuhanan na RRL. Napansin ko rin sa mga couples kasi ngayon, around my age, na like, kapag may ginawang mali yung partner nila, they don't address it. They just ignore. They don't do anything about it. Siguro after a while, magiging okay sila. Pero never na-address yung problem.
Never pag-usapan.
Nag-ghost lang yung problem. And if nag-work naman sa kanila, if after not addressing it, nagiging okay pa naman sila, sure, pero in the end, it makes a bigger problem in the future. Kasi maraming hindi na-address and that leads to bigger issues.
Parang patong-patong na
Patong-patong
resentment.
lang po.
Diba? Hanggang sa
yes.
bigla na lang, all of a sudden, with one aggravating factor na ang liit-liit lang, nag-away ng todo-todo.
Tapos doon sa away na yun, doon mabubuwag lahat.
Yes.
Mas stress sila doon.
So, hindi siya na-address talaga. And then, we call that silent treatment, eh,
Yeah,
diba?
the silent treatment.
Yun. Sa age ba natin, yung ganong, paano ba handling ng relationship? Kasi, di ba, ngayon masyado na silang possessive. Kagaya na sabi niya, boyfriend ko to, dapat akin ka lang. Yung relationship mo during her age, let's say early 20s or on the teenage before mag-20, no, kung nagka-boyfriend ka that time, paano yung relationship, paano yung independency ng each party?
Halos same sa kanila, nung age ng mga Gen Zs ngayon. Parang same lang kasi parang yun nga, yung karamihan, I mean, in my experience, merong codependency. You're dependent to your partner, you're dependent to your boyfriend, kailangan nag-uusap kayo. And when it comes to settling conflicts, lagi nga siyang, parang wala namang nagbago over the years, pare-pareho pa rin siya. It's just that it matters kasi kung nasa ang life stage ka na. Pero nung sa millennial siguro ang difference is, walang social media na nakaka-affect kasi sa atin. Though at that time, I remember, Facebook pa lang. Tapos, sobrang lakas kumain sa data ng Facebook. Wala pang, may IG pero sobrang clear.
masyado pinapansin.
Mas Facebook tayo no? Tapos balita pa rin, parang gano'n. So, walang social media na nag-i-influence sa decision making mo. You decide based on what you agreed, ano yung observation mo, based sa narinig mo sa friend mo or advice na narinig mo. Siguro, kay sa radyo, di ba? Kasi nakikinig ako sa radyo, love advices. Ayoko mag-mention, pero pinakikinggan ako dati, di ba? Mga ganon. So, din lang yung nakaka-affect sa amin. So, and then, we also base the decision sa kung ano yung nakikita namin dynamic sa, family namin, sa parents,
totoo.
sa mga relationships na nakapaligid sa amin. So, yun lang. Pero, yun nga, I mean, at the end of the day, same pa rin, nasa-settle. Pero kung hindi kasi natin na-address yung root cause, it's still the same problem over and over and over again. And madalas kasi, in relationships, yun nga, yung problema is, yung babae lagi yung nagtitake accountability dun sa pagsusolve ng problem. Hindi lalaki kasi parang, siguro napansin ko rin po, I mean, over the generations naman to, across generations, na mas less communicative ang mga lalaki. That's why it's, kailangan talagang ma-practice ng lalaki yung pag-communicate ng feelings and communicate what's their observation and agree. Parang mag-meet sila halfway. Dun sa, mag-meet halfway sila kung ano yung gusto nila mangyari. Kasi madalas, yung ang babae ang nagsasubmit, which is dapat hindi.
Pero ngayon, marami na ring babae ang alpha.
Yes.
Which is, we will tackle that sa mga susunod na episode. Kasi, para isa lang yung focus natin this time. Pero there's a lot of topics that we can discuss about women in a relationship, sa career. And, kung anong nangyayari ngayon. Natatawa lang ako kasi yung sabi niya kanina na ang tawag dito na yung obsession sa jowa. Ewan ko kung ginagamit pa nila ngayon, pero nung mga time kasi natin, may tawagan na mine.
Yes! Mine ko, tas may number.
Napaka-jeje that time. So, kapag jowa mo before, mine, may spelling pa nga yan na M-H-I-N-E. may something na ganyan,
Yes.
di ba?
Yes.
So, yun. Kasi, di ba, yun nga, siguro dahil over the years and per generation, nag evolve lang siya sa iba't ibang term. Pero nag exist yung mga ganong klase ng person. Pero ngayon kasi, ang sabi nga niya, mas madami kasi silang source. May resources sila na sobrang daming idea na kumakalat online kung paano yung proper handling na relationship. Kaya pati sila, experimental. Hindi din nila alam kung sino ba talaga yung mag-work doon sa ano.
Yeah.
Di kagaya nung sa atin is, yun nga, sabi mo, kung ano yung tumatakbo sa relationship ng pamilya natin, yun yung parang inspiration natin. It's either maganda yung relationship na meron yung within the family, yun yung i-mirror natin. Kapag hindi maganda, yun yung i-avoid natin. Ganun siya. So, yun. I love the conversation. Sobrang dami, di ba, nag-open up siya na, ganito pala sila ngayon, ganito pala dati. So, makakompare mo kung ano yung pinagdaanan, kung ano yung current situation, and ano yung mga matututunan mo doon. So, what's your takeaway po dito sa conversation natin, ma'am?
So my biggest takeaway is that obviously there are differences in the generations, how we view relationships. Siguro the handling, syempre iba-iba rin, di ba? But at the root of it, if we go deeper in terms of ano ba yung basic needs ng both parties to have a healthy relationship, no matter what medium, whether there's social media, there's yung time namin, ano lang, telepono, tsaka dadalaw, di ba, ng bahay. Wala kaming social media, late na yung social media. Yung Facebook mo, yung ngayon, mas marami na. Maraming different influences. But if the people in the relationship sit down, talk to each other, and understand each other na, ay, gusto kong maging better ka dito sa relationship na to. I think that's bottom line, kahit anong generation, pwedeng maging healthy yung tinatawag nating toxic relationship.
How about you?
Yung takeaway ko is, across generations, ang mga, yung responsibility pa rin talaga ay nakaatang sa babae. Which is, it shouldn't be like that. Kasi, yun nga, yung nasabi ni ma'am na, yung babae talaga yung nag-hold ng, parang the women or the wife holds everything together sa Gen Z. Sa generation natin, we hold everything together, not just in relationships, but our life as well. Same with them. Iba lang siguro yung mga terms and yung perspective. Pero same pa rin, yung mga babae, sila yung nag-hold sila yung mas nagbe-bear ng much weight in the relationship. That's why, siguro, yun nga, kaya kung toxic ang relationship sa perspective sa labas, mas toxic sa loob. Kaya, kailangan talaga na ang babae, alam niya kung sino siya, she knows her worth. And across all generations, kailangan talaga natin na i-practice yung nurturing talaga sa sarili. Hindi lang tayo mag-nurture ng ibang tao, but to give that type or that level of nurturing to ourselves as well.
Thank you. How about from Gen X? Gen Z, sorry.
Gen Z. Okay, so, ayun nga, first of all, I'm still in awe sa differences. Pero in the end, pare-pareho lang din naman pala tayo ng mga problems. Iba lang yung platforms, iba lang yung ways na we approach them in the past. So if kay ate, communication, and kayo po, responsibility, for me, it's trust. I think these three can be tied together naman po. Kasi yung mga babae talaga, from all generations, naiipit sila dahil walang trust yung partner nila in that relationship. And dahil doon nalilimit nga sila, nakakalimutin nila kung sino sila. And ayun, without trust, paano kayo mag-work? Paano kayo magko-communicate ng maayos? Kasi, ayun nga, tampo yung other side. And without even addressing it with each other, hindi yun mag-work. Kasi, wait, sorry, namamind block ako.
Okay lang, go.
Kasi, in the end, hindi ka magsaselos sa partner mo kung alam mong hindi naman nila gagawin yun, kung assured ka naman. And you don't need to go through all those steps to show that they are your partner. Because in the end, the two of you should know that the two of you are for together, and that's enough, and you should let them live their lives outside of that zone.
Sobrang nice. So, ang dami natin take away this conversation. And marami pa yan sa mga susunod. Thank you so much for watching this episode, guys. This has been your host. This is Nix, and we have...
Eileen from Gen X.
Apple from Millennial.
Hi, I'm Flora from Gen Z.
See you on the next season. Season na, guys. See you on the next episode. Bye!
Bye.